Hi, Diane here, and today I'm going to talk to you about my writing process. And since Samantha Kid has kind of been the star of the videos for the last couple of weeks, I'm going to let Madison be the star of this one and help walk you through how I go from concept to book. So the book I'm going to talk about is The Pajama Frame, which just came out in February. And the first thing I do is I start with a Doris Day movie. If you know the Madison Night mysteries, you know that Madison is a big fan of Doris Day movies. She's modeled her life after Doris Day, and she's a mid-century modern interior decorator. So the first thing I do is I meditate on my shelf of Doris Day movies, and I go to IMDb and I look at the different titles, and I think about what I could do a little twist on to come up with a title. In this case, it was The Pajama Frame. Pajama Game, which became The Pajama Frame. So what do I know from this? Well, first thing I do, I watch the movie multiple times, which is the most fun research possible. And I think about what is in the book, in the movie, that could easily go into the book. It could be references, it could be general concepts, it could be little scenes or names of places that I think are kind of fun that I can riff on. So I do that. I kind of internalize the movie a little bit before I start working on it. And in this case, I knew there were going to be pajamas, and I knew there was going to be a frame up. So that was my very big picture. Came up with The Pajama Frame as my title. And from there, I get a notebook. Every one of my books has a notebook. It's kind of my book Bible. And no matter what I'm working on, if I have an idea for that book, I write it in the notebook. And it's the best I can do in terms of organization. If you look in here, you can see I have all sorts of things shoved in the notebook because I have anything that has to do with this book goes in this notebook. So when I need to flip through, come up with an idea, or I need to see if there's anything I thought of that I forgot that I thought of, it's usually in here. And sometimes that does happen, and sometimes I go, oh, that's a great scene. I totally forgot about that. So, notebook. From here, first page of the notebook, I write the alphabet. And I write down all the recurring characters, and then I start filling in the names of any other character that's going in the book. I know there's going to be at least 5 suspects. I know there's going to be people who aren't suspects, but who are supporting characters in the book to help round it out. And just doing that with the alphabet helps me from repeating the same letter too many times. It's just something I like when I'm reading a book. It makes it easier for me to follow along and not get characters confused. Maybe that's just me, but I do try to do that in the writing process. And from there, once I have my character names, and I keep filling that in as I go because I don't know everybody at the beginning, I start writing. And my goal when I start writing, because I don't outline, I've already mentioned in another video that I write by the seat of my pants. So when I start writing, my main goal is to have a crime committed in the first 3 chapters. And that's a cozy mystery thing. If it's not the first book in a series, I can go to chapter 4 or chapter 5, but I always try to get the victim in the crime committed in the first 3 chapters so that you know what the story is going to be about, you know, the puzzle of what the mystery is going to be about. From there, my next goal by page 75 is to introduce all the suspects. Now, you don't know who the suspects are. I discover them as I'm writing, but basically there's going to be at least 5 people. They all would have some motive, and I kind of have that in the back of my head, what that motive might be, and any of them could have committed the crime. I don't even know who committed the crime at that point. I just know that I want to introduce them, fair play for you reading the book, and not have somebody jump out of a closet on the second to last page and say, surprise, I did it, you didn't know I was here. So I wouldn't do that to you. So anyway, that's the goal. Crime in the first 3 chapters, suspects by page 75, and from there on, it's kind of like the Wild West. I don't know what's going to happen. I discover it as I'm writing it. Which is tons of fun for me because it keeps it fresh, and hopefully it keeps it fresh for you as you're reading. And I am aware of the 50% mark of the book, the 75% mark of the book. The 90% mark is generally when the climax starts to happen and Madison will confront the killer. And so those things help me keep track of pace. My pitfalls are usually around the 50 to 60% mark. I start to realize I've just been writing, charging ahead, not looking back, and I start to think, am I lost, or is there something that I wrote back there that I completely forgot about? So I go back and I read the whole thing from the beginning, get caught up. It's a really good way for me to kind of see if there's any loose threads, if there were any characters hanging around that I forgot about, or any red herrings that I can get back to. And other than that, I'm pretty much, as I'm writing, I start to think, what is the craziest thing that could happen right here? And sometimes that works, or sometimes I think, what is the most unexpected thing that could happen right now? And that's what happens. So when I can do that, that helps keep the whole story fresh. And between juggling the amateur sleuthing of the series and juggling the romantic elements of the series, that kind of helps fill everything in. And then there's always some additional side stories happening just for fun. So I start with my movie. I then go to my notebook. Everything's in the notebook. Everything from the notebook, hopefully all the good ideas get put into the book. And from there, several months later, there's a book. The PAJAMA frame. Oops, let's make sure there's no glare on that. And that's it. That's the process from concept to book. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy reading the final product. Thanks for watching. Oh, la 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 la. Actually, no, I gotta go back. I'm gonna have to do this again. Let's just start the whole thing. No, let's keep going. I can maybe cut. As you can see, it's not just notes, it's all sorts of little papers that I put in there. Oh, crap. What is going on with my hair? Ugh. Do over.